welcome to today's Rivalry Weekly, and let's dive right in with all of your Dota 2 news. So recently, Dota 2 had the Chongqing Major, which is the second major in the DPC circuit. For those of you who are unfamiliar with how this works, the DPC circuit is a series of 5 partner tournaments with a minor and a major, with the winner of the minor directly qualifying for the major and all other major participants having qualified in earlier online qualifiers. The major is worth a significant number of DPC points, and the top 12 teams at the end of the DPC season will directly qualify to the international that will be taking place in Shanghai. So let's take a look at what happened in Chongqing. So teams were split into 4 different groups of 4. So here's a breakdown of the format. The group stages took place from January 19th to 20th, with those 4 groups of 4 that played best of 3 double elimination in a GSL style bracket, where the top 2 advanced to the upper bracket in the playoffs, and then the bottom 2 started out in the lower bracket with best of 1s. And then the playoffs, of course, had those best of 1s in the lower bracket, and then all other games that weren't the finals were best of 3 with a best of 5 grand finals. So these are the 4 groups that the teams got split into, with Group A being taken by Virtus.pro and eHome. Just a reminder, eHome were the winners of the Bucharest Minor. Now at the previous minor-major combination, Tigers won the Dreamleague Minor, but completely bombed out at the Kuala Lumpur Major. So eHome already doing kind of significantly better than the first round of DPC. And Group B, PSG, LGD, and Team Secret came out on top. Group C, Team Liquid and Vici Gaming, with Group D, Fnatic and Evil Geniuses. Now, some notable adjustments here are that Miracle was unable to compete with Team Liquid, so Team Liquid used Shadow as a last-minute stand-in to play at the major. So we can definitely expect that there were some communication issues, and definitely it was not Liquid at their full force, but despite this, they still managed to top their group. A few other teams also had a few issues. So TNC obviously is playing without Cuckoo, and the Pango also had to use a stand-in because of visa issues for one of their players. So before we jump into how these brackets went, I just want to give you guys a look at some of the top plays, literally in the case of Arteezy, he was on top of that cliff, that happened at the Chongqing Major before we jump into these results. So let's take a look.
We started in groups, and then we moved to the best of ones.
Rich, I know you're new to Dota, buddy, but this didn't work out so well for the last guy that did it.
I actually kind of feel like an ass right now. If we could take
the Lich. Arteezy's on the high ground. He's stuck up on the high ground of the Avalanche. The taunt. They got him caught. Arteezy, where are you going to go? Clipped up, in trouble. But S4 buys back. He wants to deal his damage, but he can't do anything. They're too far away from him. That Terrorblade is stuck up there, and Sumail left all alone to his own devices. They can't do anything at all. Where's your damage? It's up too high. They want to pull the fight back over to this side of the engagement, but it's not happening.
He's still up there.
Evil Genius is gonna lose their carry in the most tragic of ways, as S4 just wants a little help, but it's not coming.
Finally buy back, and Sumail, he's underneath the fountain, drop the eclipse! A triple kill on the back of $36 in. The blink imprisonment from ASD, support's arriving, the pit controlling up Tiny, he wants to walk away, the Centaur! Neutrals fighting against China, eHome will have to back up.
They have the Earth Splitter onto 2, it's not going to be enough damage, and now trying to get the Supernova down. They don't have any heroes on top of this one at all. Going in the middle of all of them, can they kill him off in time with the Omni Slash? He's able to steal it away! MP in the midst of the Omni steals the Aegis, but now he needs to get out as well.
He's coming back, they're looking for the kill, but the Hex on Grimstroke, they have the damage to kill off Io, and under the Exorcism, maybe they got the DPS, but Puck back in again on the fight. They've taken so much damage thanks to the Rift as well as the follow-up. Death Prophet, she needs a little bit more space, running away, but the crit from Nisha is coming into play. Doombringer's on the run with almost no armor, but it's up towards the top. That's where Mid One finds a double kill. Virtus.pro, is this happening again? Wiped. The whole team is dead, and Team Secret, they take a huge engagement.
Definitely some amusing moments there with, you know, our new host who comes to us from, I believe, the World of Warcraft world. Definitely doing his research there with the good old James throwback to the Shanghai Major from a few years ago. So definitely had a lot of amusement from there. And, you know, my personal favorite play was definitely the MP Aegis Snatch. I thought that was pretty incredible, cool thing to watch. Obviously, the latest patch has adjusted a few Omni-Slash things, but that one should still be an option. So if we take a look at the upper bracket here, VP had an easy, we'll say easy, route all the way up into the winner bracket finals. So they took down Evil Geniuses 2-0, and then same to PSG LGD. And then Team Secret took one game off of them, but VP advanced right into the grand finals and waited to see who their opponent would be. Now, as always, the lower bracket is significantly bloodier. So Team Secret, unfortunately, are the destroyers of NA's last hope, the lower bracket kings, Evil Geniuses. With or without PPD, these guys seem to have a special affinity for that lower bracket. Starting out in round 2 at the best of 3s and making it all the way to the lower bracket finals, just missing out on the grand finals with a 2-0 loss to Team Secret. And so that gave us Team Secret versus Virtus Pro once again, which is one of the classic rivalries in Dota right now. We all think back to the early days of Navi and Alliance, and Virtus Pro, Team Secret have a little bit of that flavor to it. Team Secret was the favorite heading into TI5 and had won absolutely everything. And then they get to TI5 and VP knocks them out into a disappointing 7th, 8th place finish. Now, ever since then, I think Puppy has had a slight axe to grind with Virtus Pro, with Team Secret and VP kind of being some of the top teams very consistently for quite some time now. So this final series went to 4 games, and this patch is kind of known for its shorter, abbreviated games. And we definitely saw that here with Secret winning 21 minutes, 17 minutes, and a 31-minute win, with the only game VP able to take one where they extended it significantly longer. I would say the most noteworthy development from this finals is the support Luna that we saw here in from Team Secret in Game 2. That was certainly an interesting strategy. The way her aura works now, you throw that in there with an OD and a Drow, and why not have a support Luna? So pubs everywhere you can think. Puppy for that fun little development. And so Team Secret wins this major after just winning the last one, and takes home a very large share of DPC points. So if we take a look at how teams are currently doing in the DPC, Knoxville put together, just a quick approximation of what the points look like for teams right now, and what the threshold is for guaranteed invite to TI. So according to him, Team Secret and Virtus Pro have both guaranteed their invite to TI9 this year, which is impressive considering how early into the year we are. With Evil Geniuses surprisingly close, and then behind them, LGD, NIP, Fnatic, eHome, Vici, TNC, JStorm, Liquid Alliance, and Chaos. And remember, this year it is the top 12 teams that will be directly invited to the International, with one team qualifying from every region in the qualifiers. So the overall point threshold, Nox's original approximation before the season started was that it would be about 900 points, and he believes this estimation to still be fairly accurate once we see all of the tournaments play out and how these teams are doing, especially if Team Secret and VP continue to hog all of the points at the top of the leaderboard. Now, another little fun stat from Follow Knoxville, who you should consider following if you want more fun little stats quirks from him. So Somnus and Mind Control each played their 500th LAN match at the Chongqing Major. So only 34 players have played this many LAN matches, and 13 of those are TI winners, which makes sense considering how many extra games you play at TI if you win as well. And then these players have a 57.4% LAN average win rate. So not only do they play on LAN all the time, they're rather successful. And then the next closest player to 500 is Miracle, who unfortunately was not at the major, so, fell behind a little more without having those extra games there. So he's only 15 away. We'll just have to wait for the next LAN that Liquid will be at. And now, as I mentioned earlier, the Pango also played with a stand-in at the major, which has been done before. NIP had to play with a stand-in when one of their players could not get a visa, And then obviously Team Liquid used Shadow as a stand-in, and these stand-ins took place without the point penalty. So Pango's original tweet said 40%, they messed up their math, they fixed it later. So I fixed it for you guys up on the screen. Due to Zayak's visa issues, we had to play the Chongqing Major with a stand-in. So we got only 60% of DPC points. At the same time, Team Liquid got 100% of their points, even though they had a stand-in as well. Now, according to the Pango, they immediately applied for a visa right after qualifying, so they definitely didn't leave it too late, but it is very challenging for Zayak to even get a visa to go to China. Now, it's speculation on Reddit as to whether or not the Pango has actually spoken to Valve or if they've been ignored by Valve and have now taken to Twitter and Reddit, but there are currently a lot of discrepancies as far as the overall DPC points, so we should expect to see some kind of clarification from Valve on the official numbers so we know exactly where teams do stand as we head forward into the season, especially with the Dreamleague qualifiers coming up so soon. Now, there are a few other changes happening in the scene right now, with LGD announcing that maybe needs to take some time off for personal and mental health, and he will be replaced by XM, which is CDEX mid player. And then Black, who was talent at this most recent major and has been an analyst at several high-profile events over the past couple of years, has announced that he is going to commit fully to playing professional Dota once again. He states in a tweet longer that Team Liquid didn't even think of asking him to be their stand-in at the major because he was on the talent list. However, for Team Liquid, having someone who speaks English or even potentially German, with a decent portion of Team Liquid speaking German as well, he could have been a more beneficial stand-in. Black also states that he had offers from Tier 1 teams, but he unfortunately broke his hand or wrist and has been unable to play Dota for quite some time. Now that he's fully healed, he has been training and playing again, and that's all he wants to do. So we will no longer be seeing Black on an analyst desk, and instead should expect to see him on, ideally, a high-profile team to see what he can do. The last time you saw Black on really, I would say there's two notable teams. He played for Team Faceless with Ice Ice Ice, and they were kind of the gatekeepers of Southeast Asia and did a lot of qualifying early in the year, then sort of struggled when it came around to TI time. And then we also saw immense success from Black while he was on Vici Gaming. If you're looking for more information about Black's career, I did put together a little article that goes over his ups and downs and his transition through analyst and player over on rivalry.gg, so you can check that out if you want more information. And then for now, we can talk a little bit about general Dota, less so the esports side of things, and talk about the new ranked season that they said initially, oh, the new ranked season is going to happen in January, and people would not stop whining about it even throughout the major, and then they're like, okay, the new ranked season is going to come next week, and this was January 25th that they tweeted this, with also a balance patch, and then we can expect to see Mars end of February, early March. So plan Mars on your calendar for the end of March. So the update was released on January 29th with the 7.21 gameplay update and the ranked calibration reset. So now ranked will have 7 tiers as you progress through your medal instead of 5 as before. There's a whole bunch of gameplay changes, some new Dota Plus sets to make some appease some people about their Dota Plus issues. And you'll notice that the artwork features Enchantress rather prominently. Well, she was rather buffed. I'm sure there's a Purge analysis video coming soon if it's not out already where he can talk about what exactly to expect from Enchantress. But the general consensus is she will be rather strong. The rest of the patch kind of just reverted things that they had done. So phase boots, which used to be the move speed and damage, switched to move speed, armor, and attack speed. And then treads became damage. And now treads are back to being attack speed and phase boots are back to being damage. And then they switched all of the move speeds away from percentages back to flat rates, whereas in the previous patch, they made all the move speeds percentages. So this patch kind of felt like let's go back to the way things were before. And now we get into the next DPC season. So Black tweeted about this. There's a little bit of controversy that the open qualifiers for Dreamleague actually took place during the Chongqing Major. So nobody who was at the Major could play in open qualifiers. Now this kind of makes sense on one hand because everybody who's at the Major would be invited to the closed qualifiers. unless you happen to be analyst talent, maybe a temporary coach at the major, and you kind of lose your shot at playing in the next round of majors and have to sort of reserve that for the minors. So these qualifiers, the schedule has been released today, will begin on February 1st to determine who we will see at the upcoming Dreamleague Major taking place in Stockholm in March. They have also announced the talent that will be taking place for the qualifiers, with Shiver returning to us after her hiatus due to obviously personal health issues that the community has been following along and sending her all the best wishes. So it'll be great to see Shiver back on the hosting desk with the Shiver Show, joined as always by her patience testing, OD Pixel and Fogged, with Moxie, Breaky, and Kips also showing up as talent for these qualifiers. ESL One Katowice is just around the corner. It's close. When they have also announced their talent, calling them the Storytellers, where we will have the desk host Redeye, reporter Shiver, the host, so swimming on stage, Airy returning to us, Nahaz and Purge as analysts, along with Kyle also as an analyst, and then commentators Fogged, Toby, OD Pixel, Capitalist, and Blitz. So just a reminder, these are the teams that you will see at ESL One Katowice. Team Secret, Nip, OG, Pain, who I believe is Chaos at this point. The graphic has not been updated. Fnatic, Alliance, Aster, Forward Gaming, Gambit, Complexity, TNC, and eHome. So this is a pretty star-studded lineup, well situated between DPC events. And then at the same time, we will have NDL, but we don't have quite as much information as NDL. So I'll hopefully have that for you guys on our next week's episode. And ESL One Katowice is not enough, as ESL also will be having ESL One Mumbai in 2019, and they have announced the closed qualifier invites for this tournament, with the European teams, Navi and Alliance, European/CIS, they're comboing those, North America's JStorm and Team, and then there's also a specific India closed qualifier, Southeast Asia, and China. So the open qualifiers for those are currently going on, if you want to check those out, and then the closed qualifiers to take place in late February. So that's it for our Dota news.